Hello, this is Bennett with a pre-podcast note. In this podcast, I try something new. I'm using a different microphone. I'm actually walking around outside while Daniel and I talk. I didn't know this at the time, but it turns out I had on some kind of annoying setting that adjusts the gain to try to pick up all the sound. Anyway, that results in some wonky audio. I've done my best to clean it up. It's still a little annoying, but just wanted to give forewarning. I know the problem, so next time it'll be fixed. So apologies for that. Anyway, without further ado, I'll let Daniel give his intro jingle.
It's Bennett space, it's Daniel space, it's his space, her space, our space, and third space.
Third space. I can't wait for the day when you actually run out of musical jingles. Will that day ever arrive?
I don't know. I think they all just sound the same, and they might already.
Probably so.
When the world runs out of music, I'll run out of third space jingles.
I'm doing something interesting this time.
Tell me about
I'm doing a walkabout podcast.
Ooh. So you're presumably walking about?
Yeah, like an Australian.
Are you carrying your big mic with you and your big, sound boom thing and all that?
Yeah, I've got like a big backpack with the microphone rigged in it, and it's like hanging over my head. Yeah, like a boom mic. People are looking at me funny. No, I got a little portable recorder and like a lapel mic, so I can just put it on and walk around outside around the lake. And
I like that a lot because when I'm typically on the phone, I like to have movement. And one of the transitions to doing this podcast is sitting still. It's pretty difficult to do.
Yeah. I would get tired of just sitting. And I don't know, like whoever they are, they say that, walking around outside in nature makes you more creative and gets your thoughts moving around in your brain, to use scientific terms. And, I think that's true. And, I notice when I'm walking around the lake that I do tend to be a little bit more thoughtful. So I thought in one of those thoughtful moments that, I could use a portable mic and do a walkabout podcast. That might actually be useful. So,
and just more pleasant all around. And like, even if I'm in my apartment and it's raining, I will still walk around. So I wouldn't even, I do agree nature is preferable. Like a lovely walk in nature is better than pacing around in an apartment. But I'll still pace around an apartment.
Oh yeah,
so
me too.
Then what is it? Is it movement? Does it feel like metaphorically progress and going somewhere, and there's direction in your movement at like subconscious level, or what's going on?
I don't think it's metaphorical. I think it's I know that we've talked about this before, but it's kind of like your brain has multiple tracks going at all times. And in the same way that, at least for me, when I'm, driving a long way on the road, it's almost like there are three simultaneous tracks going. There's the part of my brain focusing on my motor movements, like my hands on the wheel, my eyes looking at the lines on the road and other cars around me, and just getting me to my destination. But that actually doesn't require that much brain power. And, sometimes I'll get to my destination and be like, whoa, I just drove here and I don't even really remember it,
Yeah, the automaticity of, like, you don't think on your way to, say, work or a destination you go to frequently that, do I take a left up here? You don't make that decision, really.
Yeah, your body
That's why if you go somewhere new, you'll sometimes go to work or something fun
right,
like
yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Right,
and then I have another track that's just listening to my music and just, I maybe sing along or whatever, do some air guitar, whatever people do. And then
little air guitar driving.
Yeah, and then the third track is just thinking about stuff. And I find that when those first two tracks of your brain are occupied, in a way it kind of frees up that third track to just kind of wander to whatever. I don't know, maybe that's how you stumble upon new thoughts when you're not focused on thinking, because that becomes strange. Things just kind of pop into your head. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking anyway. That walking around, it occupies your motor your motor skills. You have to actually move your feet, navigate around, and your eyes are looking at the stuff around you, but your brain can be thinking about something else.
I tend to agree with that, but here's another angle about why movement might help us too. What if I'm into the idea of being mindful and being present, but I realize sometimes when we use the word being present, you can mean different things, because often I mean like on the same wavelength as the person I'm talking to, right? Like you and I right now, we are present for each other in this conversation.
Right.
And I am less present and you're actually less present on your walk than you might be if you weren't on the phone and you said, I'm going to look at the trees and I'm going to really be mindful of my surroundings and my existence in this space. So someone can mean be present minded, and they're talking about literally like existing, like what are their physical movements doing in these surroundings. Like that's what meditation can be, is this sort of all the noise of the universe trying to drown that out and just say it's just me, it's just this space I'm in, like listen to my breathing, get in touch with myself and my surroundings. But like it's also very, very, it's a similar feeling when you decide to be present with another human being in a conversation or in a class.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to a lecture, to be present, or to watch that movie and be present and like into the narrative being told to you or showed to you.
Right.
And so I think it's important to value both, but I think it's very difficult to be present because like we are almost, I don't want to say inherently ADD, but we can function in three ways, like you said, at the least. And so movement occupies some set of energy that I have and allows me to settle my thoughts a little.
Yeah.
Like if I'm sitting here right now, I'm a little bit like I'm gesticulating more than I normally would. My hands are going all over the place, probably trying to make up for the energy I would be expending if I were pacing, which would be more typical.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It seems almost like there's some kind of attention or focus overflow, like if you devote all of your attention to one particular thing, there's like some sort of, I don't know, it's a bad way to describe it, overflow. But if you're walking around or whatever, then that overflow is captured with your body movements that don't take much conscious thought, and it kind of frees you up to be present.
I just wonder, is this a modern day phenomenon where like hunters and gatherers this would sound like a strange conversation because they need to be present in the sense that they're hunting, they're out like being in touch with their surroundings, and so they weren't as fragmented, whereas we're constantly fragmented with our phones in our pocket, text, and all the things, social media and various forms of information coming our way. And just even on your walk, there might be a road you need to cross and that could have some danger in it. I don't know, like my point is like you're pulled in different directions in a way that might be uniquely modern.
Maybe, but I find it hard to accept that it's since hunter-gatherer times we've had some kind of evolutionary change in the way humans think. It seems like it would take a lot longer of a time for us to fundamentally change the way we focus.
That's actually so. I actually think that we haven't changed the way we think, but our society has changed so rapidly, and that's why you have like mental illness and a lot more frustrations. And asking, it seems like it's a fairly new question. Are you satisfied with life? Are you happy?
Well, that I definitely agree with. Yeah.
And so when you have this completely new, like since industrial age, like here's how we've talked before about how jobs aren't always connected to meaning explicitly the way they used to be. And that's a new phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And so all of that coupled with like being pulled in different directions, I don't know. So like we're being asked to think differently to navigate our new circumstances, but we don't think differently. So
right.
I don't know.
So it's modern tension.
Yes, modern tension, because our natural state is to perhaps be present and not like maybe walking and talking would have been a lot to like but I've been conditioned.
Yeah.
It would have been a little too much.
Well, good thing
they
didn't have gum, because you're walking and chewing gum, they say, can't be done.
Walk and chew gum and have a conversation. What?
Are you kidding me?
Well, obviously we can do multiple things and we have to do multiple things. and they required varying degrees of mental thought,
Right.
presentness.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I guess I'm realizing as I'm walking about that, I guess the upside to the walkabout is pretty much all on my end. I mean, I get a more pleasant experience, but I guess there may be some occasional noise of people that I'm walking by, or the cicadas that are buzzing around. I don't know if it'll be pleasant ambiance or an annoyance.
For the listeners.
Yes.
Particularly. So yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I want to do it. I also feel like I'm on board. If this works on your end, then I want to do it.
Yeah.
If it's annoying from my listening experience, I mean, perhaps listeners. I mean, I feel like people are fairly forgiving, and they like natural conversations,
Sure.
right? And that's part of the appeal of a podcast. It's not scripted. It's just like people saying their thoughts. And additionally, if it was a short interruption of like, oh, hey, as you like see a dog or something, I don't know.
I don't do
like,
that.
Well, you don't do that. I'm just saying if I were walking past someone, it depends on whether I'm going to be distracted from my conversation currently going on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess that's another downside. There are opportunities for, one of those brain tracks of mine to be pulled away from the conversation.
Right.
That can happen.
If someone were passed out on the trail or whatever, you would have a decision to make whether you just barrel forward with the with the conversation.
Yep. Or help them.
Or
help them
Tough
into
decision,
the grave. Right. Yeah, and I think we all know which I would choose.
Yeah, we don't even have to say anything more.
Right. So before I guess we've already jumped in, but I do have it's kind of something personal I want to share.
Yeah.
So have you experienced a close loss?
I've experienced, my grandparents dying when I was in 6th grade would probably be the closest. That's where my mind went to.
Yeah.
And my granddad. But I mean, even as a 6th grader, I didn't see him daily or even weekly. I was growing close to him in this final chapter of life. But I can't, I haven't dealt with a loved one, best friend, that sort of thing. When I loved one, of course I loved him. I just mean that immediate family, I would say.
Right.
I experienced the intimacy of that. So no, I haven't.
Well, yeah, I experienced a close loss recently. So if you don't mind, I'd like to just say a few words.
Yeah.
With your locking lever and analog knob, you used water and soap to do your job. Your visage suggested assembly before my birth, yet you cleaned my utensils for all you were worth. With no fancy brushed steel, only discolored plastic, you were function over form, but functionally fantastic. You kept plates, saucers, and bowls safe inside. I filled you with dishes, but you filled me with pride. Not once in years was my glassware left streaky, but one day it turned out that you were leaky. As a puddle of water bled onto my floor, the maintenance man said you would dishwash no more. Now, a new appliance will fill your space, but in my heart, you'll never be replaced. Rest in peace, dishwasher. 19-something to 2020.
I'm snapping my fingers because that's what you do after a poem.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your snapping
I like that you let
condolences.
me reflect on death. I mean, and then went into that.
Is that a genre twist? I think that might be a genre twist.
You did say loss. Have you ever experienced loss? And I could have. It's funny how you go straight to. That word means, when you frame it that way, you knew exactly what you were doing.
Yeah, that was a contemplated wording choice. I mean, my dishwasher is closer to me than any of my family members. So, I mean, in one sense.
In one sense, yeah, it's physically there. And was it really some just older piece of, probably early 2000s plastic.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
old. It looked really old, and it just died. So kind of crappy. Like I got in a car wreck, and then my dishwasher died, and
I know stuff's
just
going on, and it comes in
technological
threes,
curse. Yeah, my computer fingerprint reader died, so I guess that can be the third one.
We'll call that the third.
Wow.
Ooh, did they replace it quickly? This is the benefit of living in an apartment. You just say it's broken, and they say okay, and you just get a new one, right? Like there's there's nothing you have to do.
Yeah, that's the great part. It was replaced pretty quickly, and shockingly, they just replaced it yesterday. Shockingly, it's the same dishwasher, but obviously a newer model. But like the analog knob and the lever and the little heating switch, it's all the same. Like I was shocked.
So if they replaced it that quickly, was there even a 48-hour gap? Did they just have a couple on property kind of thing?
No, it took a week.
Oh, okay. So they did order one.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I guess it has to match, and they probably have a deal with. I mean, I just think about weird things when you're running an apartment. Even the knobs on like the door handles to your closet, or like, when you make that decision, you're buying hundreds of them, and so every decision like that means something. And so, and obviously, if you're buying 400, 800, whatever it is, dishwashers, you say like they're gonna break, and we're gonna call you, and you're gonna replace it within a week or whatever timeline they get together.
Yeah, you're getting some common model with common parts. Like you're not getting some kind of outlier dishwasher.
Right.
And I imagine they had to get one to fit the space exactly and everything. So, yeah.
Well, you can continue your relationship with this new washing machine, given that it's so similar. You don't have to adjust too much.
That's right.
That's the beauty of relationships with machinery.
Exactly. They just completely and totally replaced it. And after that poem, I basically will never consider it again. Sorry,
it's very funny. In the name of humor, you did actually sit down for more than, I would say, I'm guessing here, 20 minutes to
give me some
knock
credit.
out well.
Jeez, this was spur of the moment. That was improv.
This was impromptu.
I actually had a lot of fun. I was actually trying to fall asleep shortly after my dishwasher broke, and I couldn't fall asleep because I was composing a poem for it.
A poem, a eulogy poem
eulogy
for your
my dishwasher. Yeah. Yeah. Good old dishwasher. Yeah. And good old poetry.
Well, yeah, that's an appropriate use of poetry. Clearly the reverence and respect for the craft shines through, and your.
It was a very complex
couplets,
rhyme scheme and everything. Old Bill would be proud. Shakespeare.
It flowed well. You should publish that. That's worthy of a Facebook post.
Yeah, I mean, I would, and in fact, like years ago, I posted a similar eulogy for my ceiling fan. But
I'm vaguely remembering that.
Yeah, but I don't really get on Facebook anymore, and I didn't feel like logging in and dealing with it, so I figured I would just do it on the podcast. Why not?
Well, I don't know if we've discussed this on the podcast, but we certainly discussed it quite a bit. That the shame of Facebook or social media in general is to make it's a copy paste machine instead of a production machine. Like when it was originally there, you had to say things and compose essentially, and that's just almost obsolete. The only composing that goes on is primarily pictures, and even the captions have kind of become automated. Where that's why you say like Man Crush Monday or Throwback Thursday or whatever. So you don't have. I mean, the whole invention of hashtags is an concerted effort, I think, to not have to produce thoughtfully. So, geez,
yeah,
it's just a wasteland.
Yeah, it is a wasteland, and that's one of the reasons I don't really post anything. I'd rather just hasten its demise. So why do you have it? I mean, that's a good question. It's probably going away pretty soon. I mean, the technical answer at the moment is because I need it to log in to play Scrabble against my mom.
Yeah,
and
there's something to be said for the storage. It would take a moment to go save all the pictures, right? Well, I mean,
I already have all the.
Not really. If you had pictures first saved before you uploaded, then
yeah. There's really not there's not much to lose. So
Describe a pathway forward in which something like Facebook reverses this trend of automation, like, and that production and genuine. I use the word production, but people crafting their own or relaying their own thoughts instead of sharing an article, and they actually have something more substantive to say. Like, what sort of course would have to unfold to reverse?
Well,
the
I
current
mean, this
course?
is what we talked about last time. I don't think it's possible. It's not possible on the technological front. The solution to that problem isn't a technological innovation, at least not on Facebook's part. It's got to be. I think it has to be a cultural innovation or
So it's the
breakthrough.
advent of a new social media that does what we're saying. It says we're going to keep it simple. We're not going to allow this sort of copy pasting or sharing. We're actually going to make you because we want you to produce, and it has to attract a user base that wants to produce.
But yeah, that's what
And
I'm
then
saying.
that cultural
I don't
shift.
think you make a social network that attracts people who want to produce. I think it's the other way around. I think people have to want to produce, and then a social network is created to cater to that market.
But that isn't going to. I mean, path of least resistance. I mean, the reason Instagram is so successful is the simplicity of.
Well,
You don't have to even as a user not producing. You used to go on Facebook and not produce, but you go read other people's productions. But that involves reading. No? Like, if it's image heavy with hashtags that you can just glance at, it's so easy on the brain to scroll through a series of images. There's not a whole lot to click on. That's another thing. Facebook has so many options. That's a little overwhelming. Instagram, you just double tap if you like something and keep on going. And ugh, wow, that's just gross to think about. That's what we've become. That's what the most popular thing is. This is just
yeah, I mean, I hate that.
lacking.
I hate that
severely
thought.
lacking.
But like, I mean, I think the only way that changes is if the current users of Facebook, Instagram, whatever, they just, I mean, it sounds impossible, but they have to start producing. They have to start making original content and posting it, and people have to see that, be inspired, and then produce their own. And it just has to become the culture of producing stuff instead of the easy path. But this is the problem with all of these cultural movements, is that no one says no to the easy path. Everyone takes the easy path. And it's just a continuing trend in all realms, not just on social media, of people deciding, I'm not going to put in the work, I'll just take the easy path. And so that's why I'm very pessimistic about it.
It's another example of rich get richer, poor get poorer, because the ones who are producing are like semi-professional almost now, right? And then it gets copy pasted a bajillion times. And so, I mean, not always. Obviously, memes are not that difficult to produce. I'm not claiming that. But like, it's not a bunch of producers all engaging. It's a very few producers and a lot of copy pasting and sharing
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff. So like that's what I mean by rich get richer. Like they have a lot of influence, and then the copy pasters just are whatever. They're just sheeple, man.
Sheeple, wake up, sheeple.
Wake up, sheeple. Wake up. That's actually what we're saying in this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, like, really, I was, instead of wake up, it's more like do better. Apply yourself.
Yeah.
Instead of just
like
be
fulfill your
lazy.
potential.
Yeah, fulfill that potential. I wanna talk about a different topic. Since it's kind of in the same realm a little bit, but since we covered social media last time, I want to talk about something else that annoys me. It tends to make up the bulk of my conversation topics, I think. Things that annoy me. But I want to talk about advertising. This is something
I
that
like advertising, so yeah, let's get into it.
It's an interesting topic, and we've talked about it a little bit on previous occasions, I think even on the podcast, but not as kind of a holistic topic. So I guess to start, like, just how I was just thinking the other day how insane it is, how pervasive advertising is. And it's not like it's a novel thought or anything, but sometimes you just happen to be in a situation, you look around and realize, wow, there are a dozen or more forms of advertising within sight of me. Like, I can see multiple avenues of advertising. You have brands and logos, commercials. I mean,
Yeah,
stuff is
and they're all
everywhere.
competing for your attention. They're all vying for your, your attention. Yeah, your engagement. So.
And I mean, even now, as I'm doing the Walkabout podcast, like every time I pass a person, oftentimes their shirt has, a brand or a logo or some slogan or whatever. Basically, every object we have has some element of advertising.
My dad would always lament at that fact if, like, when in high school, I might wear a shirt that said Hollister really big and bold, or this is actually common for Nike and Under Armour and things like that too. And I always dismissed my dad's frustration as sort of just, well, he's not a fashion guy and all this, so I just was like, oh, he's goofy, right? He doesn't know any better, kind of thing. Especially as a teenager, I was just having that attitude. But it is weird that we willingly, the brand loyalty idea, I'm a Nike guy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually happening. I don't know if you know this in high school. In high school football and high school actually sports, and the high schoolers, they love this. So your school, like Under Armour or Adidas, will come and like have a contract with your school because it's gotten really popular to sell, your spirit shop, to have your quarter zips and your flags and your magnetic bumper stickers and all the things you can think of. But Nike will come in and say, yes, you'll be a Nike school. You will represent. And this has become just ubiquitous. This is just what schools do.
Wow.
And then they're like, oh, we're Adidas, we're whatever. And so, like, kids identify with this strongly and, buy their own personal products in line with it often.
Huh.
So
that's crazy.
Yeah, well, I find that, like, I even saw last year, I noticed, so we do this thing where we take our high school kids down to the lower division, the little kids, and we, it's like Thanksgiving, write thankful notes, whatever, just some cutesy. It's actually a good moment of community bonding, so I'm not diminishing that. I'm just saying I found myself in a kindergarten classroom, and on the ABCs, it had A is for Apple, but it was the brand name Apple.
Yeah.
And B is for, and I forget what, it wasn't like boy, then cat. Every single one, it was C is for Coca-Cola. Everything was a brand name. I took a picture of it, actually, because I was so blown away that you're being inundated with brands and advertising at a young age.
Seems
as if that
like
was
something,
anything normal.
some sort of, like, very hippie person would take a picture of and post on Instagram or Facebook or something, complaining about it in the same way we are, but we're complaining about it better.
But we're complaining because we're better than hippies and stuff. No, but it was gross to me, and I do see, like, most people, like, even if it's difficult to at first identify, it's like, well, they're just learning their ABCs, but no, you're being cultivated from a very young age, like you're to just. Brands, like, if you're that young, you wouldn't really recognize that's a brand. You just think Coke is like the fluid you drink when it's a special celebration. Well, that's what they want.
Isn't that a stereotype of Southerners? Is that just all soda is called Coke?
Right, that's the success of Coca-Cola. Yeah, is that you call it, like, all right, I'll bring Coke to the party. What kind do you want?
Right.
It's like,
or I guess that's like Kleenex is another one. Frisbee. Those are those are
Nintendo.
Brands. You're playing on your Nintendo tapes.
And I actually wonder if that's less of a trend. Like, I don't think I do that with anything. I've always found that odd.
You don't do it with Kleenex?
You know what? I might have to confess. I might do it with Kleenex. The tissues are over there. I'm pretty sure I say tissues.
I mean,
that
Frisbee
would be the
and
one
Kleenex,
that's acceptable.
Those are words I use.
Frisbee, you're right. I say Frisbee. I don't say... What is it?
Flying disc?
Yeah, no, I don't say flying disc.
Flying disc.
I don't. Yeah, I say Frisbee. Or if you're someone who, like, plays it in college, you go, no. It's ultimate.
Oh, right.
They say this.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Hey, you want to play Frisbee? Sure, I could go down. I could go for some ultimate. Like, oh, God.
We'll have to do a Bennett Fixes Sports with that one.
Yeah. Oh, man. But no one is saying flying disc, so.
Yeah.
Want to go toss the flying disc?
Toss the flying disc around, bro.
But, like, you don't say, like, you want to go shoot some Wilson instead of a basketball or whatever brand. Like, you don't do that.
Yeah.
So, I wonder how that... I mean, obviously, a flying disc, like...
It's just the dominance, it's the dominance of a brand. And it becomes so ubiquitous that people call it by that instead of the item that it is. I mean, and there may be some like phonesthetic component to it. It's easier to say frisbee and more fun to say frisbee than flying disc.
Well, let's think. Nintendo's a completely unique phrasing that's pleasant. Yeah, frisbee is also
Frisbee,
just from the appeal
frisbee
of the word
is
is fun.
phonesthetically a good word.
Yeah, it's
Frisbee,
kind of
good.
playful and wondrous, and like, what is this thing? I want to know what a frisbee is. I feel like Nintendo has that as well. Nintendo.
I can see it. Yeah,
there's something whimsical in the wording itself, and a little bit unusual. I don't know about Kleenex and other big brands, but like that is the ultimate dominance if your brand becomes the word for the product. Like that's impressive.
In a way, I don't have all that much of a problem with that, because that's almost like a happy accident. If your product becomes so synonymous with whatever it is that people use.
Isn't that one?
Yeah, Band-Aid. There's a good one. Like that. No one. I mean, maybe everyone sets out to do that, but no one can realistically expect that their goal will be, or that their end point will be, that their brand is what people call everything, of that product type. So, like, what bothers me more is, I guess just your ho-hum everyday advertising. Just the kind of blanket market saturation sort of, let's play our ad on every channel, inserted in every web page, that kind of thing.
Do you think it's because we were just talking about being present and mindful and conscious of our surroundings, and ads are clearly invasive in the intent that they're not there to contribute to your natural, like the conversation or the thing that you're involved in. It is an unnatural interruption saying, buy our product no matter what it is, it's ultimately consume this good. And that was not the conversation you wanted to partake in. That is not what you signed up for. So that intrusion is the frustration.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's definitely my frustration, is that intrusion. There's almost a purity aspect to it. Like if I'm watching a TV show or listening to music or something, and it's interrupted by an ad, it's almost like the cohesiveness of whatever it was I was being entertained by has been ruined. It's been chopped up, and some foreign thing has been inserted in the middle of it.
Right.
It breaks up the flow, and if you're watching a TV show, then you have to endure however many minutes of commercial breaks until your plot line comes back up. And I don't know. I mean, I hate it so much. I'm talking like from memory here, because I've actually been like, I stopped watching TV because of commercials.
Wow.
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see commercials anymore. I just don't participate in anything that gives me ads because I hate them so much. So.
It's funny. They said the number was thrown out at something like $6 and some change is what your Facebook profile or the average Facebook profile is worth to them, but you get it for free, and then they use your information, and if you don't pay for the product, you are the product. That's the kind of saying in the industry, and that's very true, because they're selling your information, your habits. Well, not your information, because they want access to the information, but they can basically form what kind of consumer you are and then target you.
Right.
And so all of that is the product. So it's not that you are the product, it's your attention that they hone in, that they learn what sort of attention you have, and then they can
all that aggregate
take
data.
advantage of that.
Yeah.
So anyway, like if we had just had a paywall, like Netflix is fairly neat and clean. You can say this is what we offer. I buy in and I sign in and I have like access to Netflix. I don't have any commercials in the middle of it. Hulu takes another approach. It's a little bit cheaper, and I have ads during the show, or I can pay a premium and not have no ads. And it feels weird because it's difficult for me as a consumer to say, do I want a free thing with a little bit of annoyance? But it doesn't actually, it doesn't make the product worse if I can just tolerate this annoyance. And so almost all say, no, I'll take the free product. So we have this thing where we get, we hand ourselves over as the
Yeah, I
product.
mean,
And it's so screwed up.
ultimately the market decides what's acceptable.
But if we could back up and go pay $6 for Facebook and have no ads, I mean, are you kidding? Totally got more than $6 worth of value out of it, and even now I don't like it. I mean, I just wish I could have. When something has a cost up front, I get to decide, and
Right.
when it's an advertising model, we don't get to decide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, all of the modern advertising is even weirder and more alarming. But, like, I mean, even when you think about traditional advertising, I can't help but see it as kind of pollution in a way. It's just freaking everywhere.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, wait, you're talking about like billboards and
yeah,
on buses
yeah.
and
I mean,
just...
I've got some numbers that I looked up just out of curiosity. Like in the U.S., obviously, or perhaps unsurprisingly, we spend more on marketing than any country in the world. To about $200 billion a year.
Those numbers,
They're
sounds
too
like
big.
crazy, but I also don't know
It's
what
too
that
big
means.
to hold in
You
your
could have said
head.
$10 billion and I would have gone, whoa, like
Right.
200 billion, 700 billion. Like, okay.
$100.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe for a point of comparison, like China is number 2 at 80 billion, so less than half.
And they're way bigger. That's, wow. Yeah.
They have a different society too, but still, like, it's still a big discrepancy. And $200 billion is insane when you think how many people enjoy advertising. Like, the marketing world is a world that no one enjoys, but we pay $200 billion on. Like, I mean, I think the positive feelings for advertising probably only come around when people, watch Super Bowl commercials or something.
Well, I think it's more subtle than that. It's kind of like Walmart or something. Everyone loves to complain about Walmart, but they have their sort of personal thrill. Like, so you claim to be annoyed. Oh, it's a commercial break. Dang. And then that product goes, ooh, wait, what is that? Wait, let me see what this is. And so, yeah, we all agree it's frustrating, but obviously it works because obviously it's tapping into some joy center. Because if it truly was unadulterated frustration, it would be unsuccessful. So, like, it's this love-hate relationship.
Right.
That yours is only hate, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that goes to that's what I was going to say. I guess it goes to show just, how different people can be. Like mine, it's purely a hate relationship, and I actively don't participate in things that have ads. But I mean, apparently I'm a rarity, and most people are, they're more tolerant. And so, they watch TV or, listen to Hulu or watch Hulu or whatever.
Listen to Spotify,
whatever.
Yeah.
Get their ads. Yeah, like I don't do a Spotify. I have an iPod.
And as it gets catered to, yeah.
I still have an iPod that I modded and filled
funny.
with music. No ads.
As it gets catered to who you are and they're targeting you, it's arguably less annoying. It's eerie, but so I get an experience that's like they've identified me as probably this is sound arrogant, but I want my products to be high quality. There's some level of discernment I have when I'm looking for a shirt or whatever it is, and so I tend to get kind of cool techie commercials or advertising thrown my way, and so it'll sometimes pique my interest. But I mean, it's not like I run and go. They're priming your brain. It's all about priming and controlling your thoughts, and that's what's eerie. It used to be, here's a product, let me tell you why you need it. But now it's just like priming it's literally trying to control your thoughts. If they're competing for your attention, and if they have your attention, then it's a long haul. I think it's not just buy this product now. It really is like let me convince you that you're this type of person, and that's unsettling.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't have an issue with a company trying to market its products necessarily. Like, if I'm in the market for a product of a given type, then I want to be able to go look at what people are bragging about, and that'll inform my decision on what to buy. But I want the chain of events to be, I gain some interest in a product, I proactively go look for, its features, and then I stumble upon whatever marketing they have, look at it, and then buy, potentially. I don't want to be going about my business doing one thing and then get that marketing, thrown at me,
right,
without me seeking it out.
It's like you want to have a need first that you decided was your need, and then you
And
move forward to find the best product within that.
yeah,
That
and I
meets
mean,
that need.
maybe I'm just extremely naive, or this would just never work in practice. But it at least seems plausible that a world in which people they spent their marketing dollars on really robust, informative information on their website or in pamphlets or whatever. Like, if everyone knew that they could just go to whateverproduct.com and get all the specifications and information about it, like, I mean, I think that would be a source of revenue for people, and it would be less invasive and less annoying.
So you're saying it's a shame $200 billion. None of that's actually going toward making a product have
Yeah,
more quality.
right.
It's all about getting the message out there. And so,
I mean, yeah, I get, you have to break into a market and all of that stuff. And especially since there's a global market, how is, some European country going to hear about a product made in some, small town in Pennsylvania or something? They're just not. And so that's kind of the motivation behind some of the marketing campaigns is, get your name out there. I understand that, but I can just imagine an alternate universe in which, if you're in the market for a typewriter, this is something that's very important to you. Like, if you're in the market for a typewriter, maybe, you proactively, you can go on the internet and you can go to typewriter.com. I don't know, whatever. And it's just an aggregate of all the typewriter companies and their stuff, and you can find all the information. And it's not just a deluge of ads trying to steal your attention and steal your business. It's detailed specifications about typewriters, and you can find the best typewriter. Like, it's kind of what I guess the market has adapted to this desire too, and that's basically what Amazon reviews are. But they're just user reviews,
right.
But I can imagine a world in which company marketing information replaces all of the invasive ads that we have.
I think this might tell me if this is too tangential because I don't want to derail the thought you're on. But I've often thought, like, all right, if I need ketchup, and I need it now, I go, all right, well, there's Publix near me, there's a Walmart near me, there might be one at the Circle K, but I don't usually go in to buy ketchup there. It's a higher risk, and it might cost more, but it's closer. I don't know, so I'm just gonna go to probably Publix. So then I might, depending on where I'm at, I put Publix into my GPS and I go to Publix and I do that. But why not put in ketchup into
that's a good thought.
I'm serious though.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
And it would say, and then if they were doing it perfectly, it would say here's the best price
ketchup
within 2 miles. Here's the. It starts to say, what are your values? You want to search for cheapest ketchup, closest ketchup, and it shows you ketchup near you. Because the other day I had a little bit unusual product. I wanted some ping pong balls, and I'm like, all right, there's a CVS next to me. That's probably got the ping pong balls. I don't do I go to Publix? Probably does not have. Walmart would most likely have, but it's the furthest away, and so. That would have been a really useful, because I don't care about ordering the best ping pong balls on Amazon and reading reviews. I want some ping pong balls.
It's weird that you mentioned this because I was in Publix last week, and I saw ping pong balls just hanging, on one of the grocery aisles. They just had a hanging thing of ping pong balls, and I thought it was really strange.
Next to some Solo cups or something.
Oh
silly
yeah, that makes sense. That's probably what it was. But I noticed them and thought, that's weird. Why are they selling ping pong balls?
Really funny.
Yeah.
But this sort of the reason it maps onto what you were saying is it's okay, I need a product now. Now I want to get into the details of the quality, quantity, where is it at, access to me. But we don't I think GPS is really impressive. Google is really impressive because I put in Walmart. I got the number right there. I can call them in one button. I can read reviews of that particular Walmart. I can see how, bird's eye view, how close it is, how many minutes it'll take me based on today. Right now, I could say I want to leave at 4. It could give me an estimate of it'll take a little longer because traffic is heavy. It gives me when they open and close. Everything I need to know about Walmart quickly. Boom, got it. But no, I want to start typing in products instead.
I don't think we're that far from that because, you can type in a product into Google. Like, you can type buy ketchup, maybe not ketchup.
Yes,
but
you can. Well, like I've looked up, like I've been wanting to slowly buy the best of everything that matters.
Right, yeah.
So like, what if there's a great like
Local
Chipotle ketchup or something? No, it's not even local. It's just like ketchup for me. Like I like dipping sauces. So let me
smoked
tomato ketchup.
Smoked tomato. I'm just trying to think of all of these phrases
Smoked
that really get you.
Fire grilled tomato ketchup.
Fire grilled, sun dried.
All of
organic,
that.
not organic, but like, I mean, they're these catchwords that really rope you in for food.
Yes, I'm susceptible to that stuff, and I would like, why not look up like mayo? Like I like spicy mayo. Like why don't I look into? They usually don't have. They could have some spicy mayo at that, but like anyway, we get the point. Is this like that's more of shopping that more than like I need this product. I need to, if I want an exercise bike, I'm more likely to do some homework on the internet than I am to just say, where's the nearest, exercise bike near me.
Right.
But that's still useful to know, and I can compare that price to.
Well, again,
like
I think, like, to go back to, everyone taking the easy path, like, what you're doing there is not the easy path. Most people, they don't think about what's the best ketchup and maybe I should seek out the best ketchup. They just happen to be walking around and they see the ketchup billboard, or, they're listening to music and they hear the ketchup commercial. This is a common experience that everyone has. Yeah. And it's, the Heinz ketchup. Heinz ketchup, get your Heinz. I'm sure that's their jingle too. And they, next time they're in the grocery store, they say, oh, I heard about that Heinz stuff. And they pick it up and get it. And this is a totally realistic account of what happens, in people's minds with advertising. However, if everyone was proactive about seeking out the best product, there would be no need for the Heinz billboard or the Heinz jingle or whatever, because they would just need to make the best ketchup. And then people would be able to seek it out, see that it's the best according to their taste, and then buy it.
By the way, it's very funny we landed on Heinz because I think it's Malcolm Gladwell. He wrote an article about how there's all this competition in every market for take anything, potato chips, any sauce, but ketchup is Heinz, and then you got Hunt's, and then you got nothing.
That's true. It is a very binary market.
So he wrote a fascinating. I'm forgetting the whole point of it, other than like what the heck happened with ketchup that it like is a monopoly when there's almost no monopoly on. There's obviously front leaders and people, the dominant people or brands, but nothing like ketchup. So it's like, what's going on?
And Coke and Pepsi.
And
you're
right.
Dr.
I mean, there's
Cola.
dozens of. Well, there's still like really a ton of you literally will not find. There's Heinz, Hunt's, and then the off-brand, and I don't know. Maybe I just need to go back and read the article. So I wasn't prepared to talk about it or anything. It just was like it made me scratch my head and go, yeah, it was more than a monopoly or the heavy hitters. It was something different.
Right. I mean, we're very close, and one twist of fate would have gotten us to say, "Oh, hey, pass the Heinz," or "Oh, do you want some Heinz with your fries?" instead of pass the ketchup or whatever.
Do you think that's because, like, so the Frisbee was a unique product that maybe had never been, and Nintendo, even the home console market, there had been the Atari and like ColecoVision and Intellivision and stuff, but those had actually fallen apart. I recently watched a documentary on old video games, and then Nintendo re-energized the market big time. And redefine the market. So it was sort of a new territory. So that's why Nintendo gets the honor of having that brand. Whereas something like ketchup is ketchup first and then branded. But if it's the brand and the new item come out at the same time, then we just are going to call it that. That's just a thought. I don't know if that works with Kleenex, though. Are you telling me that tissues didn't exist before Kleenex? That's a weird thought. Or maybe they did. Maybe they said,
I don't know
we
the
need
history.
something disposable. Like maybe there wasn't. Maybe everyone was going around with their handkerchiefs and stuff, and they said, "Dude, that's gross. Let's come out with a disposable tissue, and we're going to call ourselves Kleenex." And then that's why. So
I mean, that's possible. I don't know the history of handkerchiefs and Kleenex. So
but it makes sense that handkerchiefs went out quickly, I'm assuming, after people went. Like, I have a feeling
that sounds like a thing
had
you would carry
handkerchiefs
around. It sounds like you would be into carrying a handkerchief around.
Oh yeah, I would have like a silk one and
Yeah.
it'd match my vest or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It just seems like a thing that
I would have been, and I would have had a cool top hat, probably.
not would have, should have. It sounds like a thing that you would like now be into.
Why don't I do that? Why don't I just embrace? That would
You
kind of
should be
you talk about
honest.
branding yourself.
Be honest
like,
instead of being a
I'll
liar.
just be the teacher who wears a 3-piece suit every day. And,
Yeah.
and like
A monocle.
and maybe a. Did we say monocle at the same time?
Yeah.
Maybe
Great
a
minds.
cane.
Think in a
if I have
similar
a cane,
fashion.
I'm gonna memorize a dance for when everyone says, "I like that cane." I need to have like music play, and I can do a thing where I tap the cane in a cool way. And maybe some flower. Even I don't know. I can incorporate magic. Because if you have a top hat and a cane and a 3-piece suit, like you need to know a few.
We
tricks.
should definitely have it so that your PowerPoint slides in class, when you tap the cane, dramatically it changes slides.
Yeah, it's my clicker.
Yeah.
It's just a fancy clicker.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Double tap
Yeah.
the cane. I like that.
Pop. Next slide.
I really like that. It's funny.
You want to know, on the topic of advertising still, like another thing, probably the thing that launched this topic into my head. I was sitting at a stoplight the other day, and on the street corner actually on two opposing street corners, there was one guy with one of those big, clearance signs, 50% off everything, well, just giant sign on a stick.
The kind of people twirl.
Yeah, he was twirling it.
Yeah.
He was twirling it around.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposing corner was another sign person. This person was in like a motorized wheelchair, and they were just, holding the sign or whatever. It was leaned up against them.
Yeah.
And I was just, I don't know, maybe this isn't, I don't know how charitable of a thought this is, but I was just thinking how much it would suck to be a sign. I mean, these people are essentially signs. They've been made into signs. Their function is nothing. You could just as easily stick the sign in the ground and it would serve its purpose just as well.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well,
the spinner
that
guy.
shows that we see a person twirling typically, but if you're not twirling it,
Yeah, I mean, obviously the act of twirling it catches your attention, and I get that's the gimmick, but like, it's just really hard to convince me that it's just hard for me to believe that the difference between how much attention you capture with a stationary sign stuck in the ground versus a sign being twirled around by some guy on the corner, like, you can't convince me that that's a big margin. And it just seems so, I don't know why it seems so demeaning to me to say, like, hey, dude, take this sign and go basically be the stick that the sign is stuck to. Like, especially the guy in the wheelchair. Like, I looked at that and I was just like, oh, that's pathetic. And, like, I don't mean it in a mean way. Like, I'm sure, he appreciates
no, it's not
getting
about the
some
person
money.
carrying the sign. It's about the
just
company doing that to the employee.
It looked so pathetic. A guy in a wheelchair, just sitting in his wheelchair with a sign leaned against him. Like, how demeaning.
I think the dark underbelly of it is that, so the person, let's say someone really is talented, you've seen probably even videos where they can twirl the sign in impressive ways and whatever. Okay, now we're almost talking about a street performance that they're mixing with this sign, and it's a novel form of advertising.
Sure.
But they're betting on the wheelchair guy catching your eye just as much, maybe, because he's in a wheelchair. And like, that's...
Yeah, it's just exploitative, I guess.
Look at this guy, he's in a wheelchair, and be like the sort of pitiable instinct you may have to say, like, oh, and kind of like wave at him, give him a thumbs up, kind of an encouragement. Now you're buying into their ploy. Look at the sign.
I mean,
not his ploy, to be clear, or
no,
her
sure,
ploy,
but
but
that sounds so far-fetched. Like, it just...
I don't think...
It sounds like... I know, I understand what you're saying. It just sounds like a far-fetched... imagine your business people sitting around the tables and they're thinking, all right, profits were down last quarter. What are we going to do? Oh, I know. Let's plaster some signs to sticks and hand them to this handicapped guy to sit on the corner and have the sign leaned against him. Yes, Bill, you're getting a promotion. Like,
yeah, no,
I just don't.
I would like to know. Well, it goes back to we're so inundated with you pass it's usually near a crappy strip mall of crappy item, like a We Buy Gold. It's got a barber shop. It's got a pawn shop. It's got a Little Caesars or something in it. Like, let's be honest, that's where I see these sort of, it's got a Family Dollar maybe, and so I'll see like a Little Caesars person during rush hour out there with their $5 hot and ready sign, and I will notice that, whereas I'll drive by. Even these places will have like, maybe there's some place that sells some clothes, but they put it on a mannequin. Do you know what I'm talking about? These like really seedy sort of strip malls. They'll literally have like a mannequin out there or something with just wearing weird clothes.
So I don't know.
None of it
that.
I see.
That one's strange to me. It sounds like a Florida thing.
Maybe it is, but I'm just saying it's usually like these strip malls are gaudy and run down. Not even gaudy, that's not a good word. They are run down and they bright colors. They might have a lot of neon LED lights on their windows. None of it is just noise to me. But I always see the human carrying the sign. So it's a simple psychological thing, but it works on me. I mean, it doesn't make me pull over and buy the hot and ready, but I always see it, and I never see those places as I drive by them. So
maybe it's more effective than I realize.
Well, they get your eyes, and then the question is, if they do that, I guess in their books they've won. And clearly, this actually, would you say they weren't doing this in the 90s or something, or even in the early 2000s? This is in the last 15 years or so.
Maybe. I don't really remember, to be honest.
I mean, think about back to our high school experience where we driving around, that's the time I was driving around a lot to like Best Buy and Walmart and the movie theater and those sorts of things, and there was just no sign holding people. So I'm guessing that some chain tried it out during rush hour. They put their person in and stop making the pizzas and go out there and hold this hot and ready sign. They saw sales grow and it just exploded. But I don't get the sort of we buy gold. Well, I guess having your attention is having your attention. They don't care. They just get out there and hold the sign.
Yeah, that reminds me of in Breaking Bad. I thought it was very funny how they had that guy out there spinning the sign. Do you remember that? One of Jesse's drug selling friends or whatever. He was really stupid. But I don't. It was only in one or two episodes. He was a sign spinner, and it was just a very underplayed part of the episode. They weren't trying to make an overt joke, but it was apparent that they were jabbing at how stupid it is to be selling or spinning a sign.
We're not going to go to Naples, Florida, a ritzy part of town in Naples and see these sign holding. It's almost a mark of just a not as great of an area, for lack of a better term. Have you seen The Joker?
Yes.
Yeah, isn't he doing the sign? Has the sign, some kids steal it and he chases them.
Yeah. I think maybe. I can't really remember.
Yeah, and it's just a really heavy moment. I mean, it's sort of, I think it's early on. It might even be the opening sequence, and it's just establishing this is a rock
not
bottom
only
scenario.
Are you a pathetic sign holder, you've gotten it stolen from you by some kids.
Right, even your sign has been bent.
And you can't track them down. You can't get to them to get it back. Yeah, I think I do remember that. It was right at the beginning, wasn't it?
And he comes back, and his mean boss is where's the sign? They took it or something, and it's just yeah, you're right, it's just extra heavy.
And then he's are you serious? I remember that part. That's my favorite part of my favorite movie.
I really actually loved that movie. It was very dark, the character study of his psyche, but the reason I think you're reacting strongly to it being pathetic is how far are we willing to go to maybe it's too strong to say degrade humans, because it's not, if they're getting paid and they're happy doing it, whatever.
It's a voluntary transaction. If I'm willing to spend my time sitting out there with a sign, fine, but I
can't help but think a series of
just do better.
Life
Apply
situations
yourself.
led to you.
Apply yourself. Don't be a sign. Don't just be a sign.
Well, I'm afraid that's what I'm saying. A series of life choices and circumstances led to it where they that was their best option for it, and that's it's just but there's also if it's a teenager out there dancing on their iPod, with their iPod, with
pod
their
party,
music, however, their pod party. Like, whatever. I mean, whatever. That's what I see a lot of, is just someone young flipping it around and like, okay, that's cool. And if they're good at it, I've actually seen a number that are like spinning it in cool ways on their hand. It's like, that's neat.
It's a sign of our times.
So, it's the sign of our times.
What are some other strange advertising methods that you can think of? Like the sign spinning is definitely, that's a big one to me. It seems like a very easy one.
Well, I'm getting, if I Google one thing, let's say recently, I was doing the same thing we were talking about with ketchup, but I was doing it with body wash. I was like wanting some tobacco vanilla body wash. Yeah, I know, it's funny. It's a cartoon of but like, so I'll get it. I'll do like an hour of research, which is actually kind of long, like going down that rabbit hole. It's fun for me. I like reading it. And then I take my risk and I buy the product. Yeah. Right? So I just, all right, good. Well, now the internet has signed me up for thinking I want that sort of branded, these local or online, not local, but like small business online retailers that make fancy body washes. Like I just get inundated with that for a long time, like popping up on, just my internet experience holistically. Yeah. And that's, so it's annoying that one search can kind of lead to that for a while.
I'll tell you.
I mean, well, go ahead.
I was just going to say one interesting sort of related thing that happened to me too. I don't know if this has ever happened to you or your parents or anything, but after I got in the car wreck 2 weekends ago, I checked my mail this past week, and my mailbox was full. Like, it was just stuffed full of lawyer ads and big envelope packets of lawyer junk, like accident resolution and blah, 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 like Clark and Clark accident extraordinaires or whatever. Huge packets crammed into my mailbox. I'm truly like a dozen different things that I had to all just throw away. Big packets with stamps on them and stuff, not just like, I mean, so
you think your wreck was documented and they just kind of all reach out to people who are in wrecks? It's just like
there must be some.
In their mail
yeah,
somehow.
There must be some sort of public record of wrecks, and like if you're in a wreck, then they track you down and want to help you sue people or something.
Yeah, that's gross to me.
It was weird. I've never had that happen before.
My dad's had it go as far as he's gotten ads after having a conversation with a friend over the phone about buying a refrigerator, and they said refrigerator a lot, and he was getting ads about refrigerator later. Like, no joking, yeah, he has a Google Mini and a Google Home and all that.
Right.
And I do believe that's things similar to that have happened to me, where he did not search Google. He didn't go Google, like he did not type into the search bar or anything like that. Nothing traceable other than speaking Google or speaking the word refrigerator, purchasing, discussing various brand names with his friend. And so he got ads for a while.
All the targeting
really happening.
The targeting stuff is really, really bizarre. But another one I thought of was like, you remember when we were, in Las Vegas, the stuff is so crammed in that there aren't really billboards. So instead what they do is have billboard trucks. Like,
oh yeah,
they just have
is a
trucks
billboard
with billboards on the back, and the whole purpose of the vehicle is to be a billboard.
There's no storage going on with these signs. They're literally a thin billboard that runs the length of their trailer.
Yeah, and like similar to the sign people, it's just like how degrading for that poor truck to have to be a billboard. Like, talk about fulfilling your purpose. Like,
you're a walking advertisement in that respect.
Like, I'm sure you remember our philosophical conversation years ago about whether your coffee table was in fact a coffee table or a chest, because it was a chest, but it was also a coffee table. And we argued about it for hours. But, like, is it a truck or is it a billboard? Like, who knows? Like, what is its purpose? Is it transportation or advertisement? We could argue about that for hours.
Yeah, we should. We don't have to revisit that debate, but just to state the circumstances is I have I had a coffee table, but it was a chest. Like it is a chest. It was designed pretty clearly to be a chest. Before we get into the minutia of it, it's a chest that I use as a coffee table. So the question is a thing inherently the thing it was designed to be, or is it what its purpose is? So if you bought a hammer and you put it on a piece of canvas and spray painted it and put it on a wall, like is it just art? Is it still a hammer? You know, because
Right.
the question being, does anything have like these don't inherently have identities? They're just what we make of them. They're tools
Right.
are tools for how we use them. So if I don't use it as a chest, if I don't store anything in it, if it's in no way a chest to me, only a coffee table, then my argument is that it's just a coffee table. But yeah, so these people, like if your job is to be a billboard, well, I do think there's overlap of what you're saying. And no joke, is like that. Your humanity feels ripped from you a little bit. Like you're not interacting, and like in so many jobs we're working with people and designing things, and the purpose, although removed from maybe immediate meaning, it like clearly has moments of meaning in it. But if you're literally designed to be a signpost,
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like people are freaking out about automation taking people's jobs and stuff. And I mean, your days are numbered. We're gonna have robot teachers soon, and you're gonna be replaced by automation. But we've got people who have been replaced by pieces of wood, like not even automation. Like they've been automated away. Like you
but that's
see what
appropriate, like a sign, someone holding a
sign.
sign versus a sign that like just put a spinny thing on it if you want it to spin a little.
I mean, can you imagine people like having podcasts and petitioning their local lawmakers to ban the signs? They're stealing our jobs. Like signs are gonna take all of our jobs away. All these people who could be out holding signs.
Oh, it's funny. And it's all about, though, the reason it is humans holding signs is it's different. And I think we just do notice human beings. So
I've got the next big, based on that principle, the next big advertising push is going to be like bears holding signs. Like get exotic animals and put signs on them.
Oh, you see that, right? Don't you see like people in their outfits and stuff? They
Oh
get
yeah,
crazy with the
okay, yeah. I guess
signs.
you're right
So,
with
yeah.
the wearing the outfits. So that's true. Another one that I can think of anyway is like, I mean, this is going big. Like when you have the planes pulling the little the signs, like at the beach and stuff. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Or riding in the clouds, riding, whatever they
Just
ride.
doing more of that.
That's
That's
pretty-
actually, I mean, because the beach is away from advertising, and then
generally, yeah.
that's what we got. We were at the beach this last week, 2 weekends ago, with my family, and then there was this big plane, or let's say big plane. It was just pulling a Trump, "Keep America Great" or whatever, and
Wow. I wonder
really
who paid
hated
for that. I wonder who paid for that. Like, is that
We actually did. That's exactly what Danielle asked, or my dad said. I guess that, and my mom. I mean, Danielle said, I think it was just a fan, like a hardcore like supporter. And my
Jeez.
dad was like, no, I think it was the local Republican
yeah,
committee.
it's got to be some
So-
local political committee or something. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
But it's still nuts.
Yeah, it's still like, how did that get there? I also really don't appreciate. I'm like literally trying to escape the noise of the crap,
Yes.
and to have that sort of.
Well,
Like,
see,
oh my god,
well, that's another-
And especially with the dynamics with my girlfriend and my parents disagreeing politically. Like, I don't want like that begs to be addressed.
When you're
this
at
big
the
plane.
beach, yeah, when you're at the beach, like that's the last thing you want to be pressing.
She didn't even.
on.
She goes, "Ooh, what is that? What is that?" And we're all
That's
looking, and then we all
hilarious.
like are like squinting, and then it says it, and you're
Oh,
like, "Oh."
That's pretty funny to me, actually. Like now, I'm kind of glad it happened. I'm kind of glad advertising is the way it is because it produced that moment for you that I can laugh at.
Yeah, it was just like eye rolling for me. It's like, oh, okay, now because we're all trying to decipher it, and then it became clearer and clearer as it got closer, and then you're like, oh yeah, okay. Like, do you debate it or argue or just go? So that was a safe route, I think, to go. Is like, I wonder who pays for that. Was just a nice way to go.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of one of the points that I brought up is the invasion of, I mean, we'll just say sacred spaces by invasive advertising. Like, I mean, I already mentioned TV shows and music, but can you imagine if novels had, every 10 or 15 pages, they just had an ad inserted in them. And they, people start flipping those pages by because they can tell they're different than the pages with text. So instead, what they do is they just, one sentence will be, your book, and then the next sentence will be ad. It'll be saying, oh, the taste of Coke is delicious and effervescent, or whatever.
Well, that's how.
And it'll be all woven in between your sentences of your story.
Yeah, your main character loves Coca-Cola or like needs Skittles for energy.
That's another
product
weird
placement.
advertising method is product placement.
Well, that's because even like in podcasts we go and instead of just saying here's our commercial break and then some outsiders insert their commercials, you just say, you know what, I love the pillow that whatever. And, and so because you can't avoid it, you can't know exactly when to fast forward. You can't just mute it.
I hate that
because. Yeah, so there's no avoiding it. It's the way around. Like you, Bennett, have like done a good job of avoiding them, but you cannot avoid.
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you can't completely get away from it,
and that's
which is
why
frustrating.
It's there, but the pivot becomes. We even come to the signal of, and you know what else is good? Speaking of, or whatever transition, they always change their voice a little bit.
Let's talk about.
And
right.
So,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. It's kind of like the podcasters or whoever are winking at me saying, all right, here comes the ad. I'm about to read the ad for 25 seconds exactly, so you can skip forward.
I appreciate that too, because I want an indication that this is an ad. I'd feel cheated if they... Well, I'm okay if they actually are passionate about the product in that very rare circumstance.
So rare. And
I don't believe that.
And the circumstances are such that even if they say they're passionate about the product, I don't believe them. I don't believe it. And
I can't believe it. Yeah.
Actually, this may sound strange. It definitely sounds strange to me. But we're doing a podcast right now. We have received emails trying to insert ads into this very podcast, the Third Space podcast. We've gotten emails saying, oh, we can do ad blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I just hate ads so much that, I delete the emails and don't think about it anymore. But, it's conceivable that our podcast would get chopped up by ads, or that, someone would say, oh, well, I don't even know how much they pay for ads. We'll pay you $500 to... advertise this tobacco vanilla body wash.
Everyone has their price. Yeah, it's like, okay, you can talk about your body wash on our podcast for $500 or something, whatever it is. Yeah, that is, or we say no, we're taking a principled stand unless we love the product, or how much we have to love the product or use the product, or all sorts of gross things.
Well, they try to do. They try to at least make it arguably more ethical by giving you an example of their product to review. They'll send you some of the body wash or earplugs or whatever, pillow or whatever.
But I'm so incentivized to enjoy it. You hand me a body wash that's and told here's money, I'm gonna be primed to enjoy it already. I want to like it, and it's freaking body wash. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, how many times does this arrangement happen? They send the product, the podcaster or whoever uses the product and determines this product sucks, and then says, nah, I'm not advertising this. I just don't think that that's a thing that happens very often. Or do you think I'm wrong?
No, I think you're absolutely right, and that's why I just doubt that popular podcast or any business says person says I happen to use this product so much and I love it. For instance, I love my purple mattress. Purple mattress is and I could launch into but I actually do, and that's not. So if I got famous or something, perhaps I would seek out. This seems like it's just extraordinarily unusual in the business, though. And for me, going, hey, I'm Daniel, and I love purple mattress. I happen to I could do a whole a conversation around how much I love it. So it would be appropriate that I would seek out them, but I'm not going to seek. I don't know. That's just
it doesn't work that way. It doesn't make sense because
it's more like they'd send me one. I'd sleep on it for 2 days and go, okay.
If imagine that whoever makes purple mattress, whatever company that is, if they are popular enough to have people seeking them out to advertise for them, then they don't need the advertising as much. It's the companies who aren't big and who aren't well known who have to seek advertising opportunities. And if you've got basically no market, no one's going to be petitioning you to do advertising.
Yeah. I got a final thought about sort of advertising, or like, what do you think about bumper stickers? Or
hate
even
bumper
the
stickers.
new,
Bumper stickers. Here's a bumper sticker slogan that I have for bumper stickers. Bumper stickers are tacky on both sides. I'm gonna put that on a bumper sticker one day.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Because the new brand of bumper stickers is the masks people are wearing. They're making their little political statement. Or I saw one that said, and we don't have to debate the merits of it, but it'll say like, I stand for the flag and kneel for the cross. And
sure.
So it's like, you see that and you go, whether you agree with it or not, it's just like, here's my opinion politically speaking. And so
it's just as tacky as a bumper sticker. Don't get me wrong, like, I have a whole set of opinions on masks and stuff, but like, I just don't want to stick stuff. I don't want to be walking around and see people's political, religious, or whatever opinions plastered to their faces. Like, how dehumanizing. Not only are you covering up your face, which is an issue I have with masks, but now you're replacing your identity, like your visual appearance, you're replacing it with some kind of slogan. Like, God, that sounds so awful to me in a deep way.
You're begging people to put you in a box, too.
Yeah, you are self-packaging yourself in a box and saying, the only way I want to interact with anyone that I don't know is through this slogan. Like, you only come to me if you want to agree with my slogan or argue with my slogan.
It is. It's this friend-enemy dichotomy. You're drawing lines. Like, why? Why do that? I mean, it's only if you truly believe the other side's the enemy and and your side is your friends. And so, that makes me sad, though. That's what people want to do.
I haven't seen
virtue signaling. Is really. So.
I haven't seen a lot of that personally.
It's growing. I'm telling you. It's just.
I'm not surprised. Hopefully, hopefully it won't have an opportunity to get that much worse. I mean, hopefully people won't be able to plaster crap on their face for long.
I hope so too.
I have one last funny advertising related thing that I want to share that I just think it's really dumb, but I noticed it before. So I'm opening my my laundry closet and I have a bottle of Purex Dirt Lift Action laundry detergent. But the funny part is that it has this sticker on it that says it's bright yellow and it says 51% more loads. And then you read versus our 50 fluid ounce bottle. And this is a 75 fluid ounce bottle.
Oh.
So how pointless. Like, it's like getting a gallon of milk and it's saying twice as much milk as the half gallon milk. Like,
4 times the fluid of our quarts or whatever.
Yeah.
Really funny.
How stupid. Like, the dumbest ad. Like, it truly is, like, again, just a bright color. Oh, here, pay attention to me, and I will give you nothing of value.
It's that belief of new is better, and then that brightness suggests
and
this has more, this is better, this is flashier, this is newer. Newer is better is a trope almost in advertising that is dangerous. That, I mean, I'm susceptible to it. I'm like, I want to make sure I get the newest model of whatever.
Right.
Because I assume that like they've improved upon after learning, but that is a mistake.
Well,
that is a mistake.
Not only is the ad goofy because it's like, oh, this is a little bit bigger than our smaller size. It's also wrong because they said 51% bigger and.
I was going to ask that.
Like, it's not. It is exactly 50% bigger. 75 and 50 is 75%.
You said it was a 55%.
No,
or 55.
50. The ad says 51% more loads versus our 50 fluid ounce bottle, and that the bottle that the ad is on is a 75 fluid ounce bottle.
So that's hilarious.
So it's exactly funny because
50.
It's wrong. Like, their math is wrong, and for a stupid reason because not all those other laundry detergents are saying 50% more than their other smaller load size, but we Purex are saying 51% more loads than our smaller size, so we're the better detergent. It's just layers upon layers of idiocy in advertising, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's in packaging. It's probably its own conversation, but it's definitely it's all the same. Just like we were saying about bumper stickers and packaging and advertising, it's all rolled into one. It's like it's exhausting.
Well, I think that's a good place to stop.
I think so too.
We've complained enough, but I think it was
a pretty whiny podcast of us.
It was kind of whiny, but also kind of interesting. I don't know. I find advertising very interesting. And
I did too. That's when you said advertising. I said, "Oh, I like advertising." I mean, I like the subject of trying to manipulate people to your purpose, and your purpose is so explicit by this product. And then you promise all sorts of things, happiness and whatever.
And in the grand scope of things, it's fairly innocuous. You know, I say this after complaining about it a lot, but I don't think that advertising is really ruining people's lives. Maybe it's ruining people's enjoyment of entertainment products or nature or beach trips or what have you. But it's just not that bad. So I think it's a relatively innocuous thing to complain about, and it's a big business. So
absolutely.
All right. Well, I'm tired of talking to you now.
Done with the conversation.
The conversation is over.
It's ending.
Over.
Stop being it.